only for the second time in human history, the regulator of the internet, a US organization called ICANN, will open up the space again so that private companies could apply to run new extensions.
Today, I have the pleasure to have in the studio Michael Riedl, who is the CEO of Team Internet Group. Welcome.
Thank you, Jerome. Great to be here.
It's nice to see you again. I invited you because there are some news in the internet world. Since next year, the internet's address book will be reinvented, and I wanted to know what does that mean and what is it such a big deal for the internet and for Luxembourg?
Right. So what many people don't realize that every website, every email, every online service relies on a hidden system, the Internet's address book, also known as the domain name system. The domain name system is what basically translates a name like Amazon.com into the digital coordinates that computers use to find each other.
Is it an IP address? Or?
Yes, which would be IP addresses. And for the last 30 years, .com was the absolute dominant ending in this space. But guess what? The big news is that next year, only for the second time in human history, the regulator of the internet, a US organization called ICANN, will open up the space again so that private companies could apply to run new extensions.
So I could book .360
well,
if it's not booked.
Right. 360 wouldn't work because it only supports letters from A through Z. But if you wanted to do cross media or .Luxembourg again would be difficult because countries are blocked because for every country you already have the two-letter code like .lu for Luxembourg.
So we can see it's not the Wild West anymore. It's already regulated, but still it opens millions of possibilities to book new domain names only with letters.
That's right. So for example, in the last round, generic extension has been created like .xyz, which is where you have now more than 6 million registrations, or .sbs, which is run by a company here in Luxembourg called ShortDot, which has also 1.3 million registrations. Or even companies could go for it, like .ferrero, for example, did here in Luxembourg.
Very good. And what is it changing exactly? Is it like an auction where everybody needs to get ready to do some acquisitions? Can you speculate on that?
Well, you actually need to file an application. The application fee is expected to be almost $250,000. And of course, running an alternative to .com must be something that must stay somehow exclusive. We don't need millions of choices because it would confuse customers and consumers. However, if you ask me, is there space for more reasonable choices? Yes, absolutely. So, for example, today there's only 81 three-letter combinations on the internet, like com, net, org, biz, from the old ancient times, and then 17 new ones like XYZ, ICU, SBS from the second round. But this means that only 0.5% of the 17,576 three-letter combinations are taken. So there is still a lot of space for great new extensions out there, which will then mean a lot of innovation for the space, more choice, more security, more trust, and that will basically shape how we will all perceive and work with the internet the next decade.
And we see the importance when we write email from people. Of course, if you get a 3-letter today, it has a very high value. Instead of typing @360crossmedia.com, you could, of course, write a shorter domain with a new extension. So the question is, how is Team Internet? If people are not familiar with this, I encourage them to watch our previous interview. And you started your career in Luxembourg, first working for BIP. You were also involved in the media business, and then you basically went with one of your investments and grew it to a very, very big scale. So what exactly is Team Internet doing in this new phase, and what can Luxembourg do there?
Right. So Team Internet is doing many things. However, our legacy, our DNA is coming from the domain name space that we just discussed. And for this new round of new top-level domains, there's in particular two services that are relevant. First, our central registry, which is today the world-leading operator of the new top-level domains that were created in the last round. So we managed more than 100 of these, including the market leaders like .xyz. But even countries have entrusted us with running their country code top-level domains, like for example lately Colombia, which through their very cool top-level domain .co, which is like a fresh, hip alternative to .com, have made it to success way beyond its own country. And other than that, we are also running a service called Brand Shelter. Brand Shelter actually helps corporations to create new top-level domains for their own purpose. And let me quickly explain to you why that could be relevant to companies. I already mentioned before that Ferrero has already been very visionary back in 2012, taking .ferrero to basically protect their own brand on the internet. But to come up with a hypothetical example for the next round, let's think about BGL, the leading bank in this country. If they would create a top-level domain .bgl, they could actually inform their customers, if you go to any website that doesn't end in .bgl, if you get any email that doesn't end with .bgl, don't click there. It could be a scam. Because with .bgl, they can alone control who would be allowed to create a domain name under .bgl, and that's a unique feature for trust and security for your customers. And I would hope that many companies will see how important this can be strategically for them in the future. And if anyone has any questions about this, reach out to me or directly to our Brand Shelter team, who will advise you how to do it.
Yeah, and I think what we are understanding is that with those new opportunities come also new risk, or at least I see this as a cybersecurity issue. You talked about BGL. We know how easy it is to make a small b, small g, and then a capital I to pretend it's BGL, and we know all those tricks, and I'm pretty sure your business is focusing a lot on preventing fraud, cyber fraud, especially for banks. This is a huge issue. We know that in Luxembourg users are attacked constantly, and I'm pretty sure that cybersecurity is a huge opportunity for Luxembourg, for companies, and for you.
Right. Well, and here is a big difference between having your own top-level domain and just registering a so-called second-level domain, basically the part left of the dot. Because for the right part, there's only the short windows when you can apply for it. You have to put up almost $250,000.
Wow.
And to make back your $250,000 just from one scam is very difficult, and it's also almost impossible to squeeze something that is obviously abusive, like having BG and then
BGI.
BGI.
Capital I.
Right. So this is why this is still a unique tool for cybersecurity. Luxembourg. You were also asking about what is the role of Luxembourg. I mean, our domain business was for a very long time headquartered in Luxembourg before we merged with Centronic Group in London. And Luxembourg still has a very healthy ecosystem of domain companies, not quite as healthy as once was. You might remember that from 2008 to 2018 there was a special tax regime for domain names that exempted them largely from taxation, which has attracted a lot of business here. This is why we have market leaders like EuroDNS, eBrand Services, we had Domain Invest and many companies here.
That's all the Xavier Buck
exactly, which is now wrapped up in a namespace group. But it
was,
shows,
I think, the same law that attracted gaming, which is now giving legacy with companies active in cloud. So we know that tax regime are extremely important for Luxembourg to attract people in a tiny country in the middle of Europe.
Right, and it shows fiscal policy actually works.
Exactly.
You can move companies here, and that allows then a country of the size like Luxembourg to punch way above its own weight class.
Yeah, and it's always ironic because anytime you go abroad, people say we don't pay taxes in Luxembourg. We all know it's not true.
Yes.
We pay a lot of taxes. So at least let's leverage the fact that we pay taxes to use those tax regime to attract people. It worked in the past many times, and surely it's the right time. I think the current government has this in mind They want to drop the corporate tax rate, and I hope they will be working on those things. So maybe last question about how are businesses and individuals benefiting from those new evolutions?
Right. So I already gave away half of the answer,
Yes.
which is that corporations can actually create a unique space that's 100% protected for them, that they control much more than working with .com or any other extension. And the other thing is just running a new top-level domain for commercial benefit is a very attractive business model. So the world market leader, a company called Verisign, running .com, is worth 25 billion US dollars.
Wow.
And but also running these new extensions is a very attractive investment case, and this is why we are working with our partner Dominion, who's now working with institutional investors to see how we can open up this opportunity to investors of all kinds of sizes. And I hope that we will have some more news on this to create this unique and once-in-a-generation asset class to the investment community.
Yeah, and I hope that also ministers are listening and they will want to meet you. If you were headquartered in Luxembourg, and of course through a merger you had to go to London, maybe there's ways to bring you back here with all the benefit that we can imagine. So I wish you a lot of growth, and I hope everybody will leverage this new information properly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jérôme.